This video contains information that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are a viewer and are triggered or shocked by images and need a warning prior to every clip or story being discussed, then please unsubscribe from my channel immediately. My channel covers the harsh reality of even the worst crimes imaginable and is for adults only. For those of you who fit into this category, take this message as your warning and don't watch any further. I'm woke, everybody. I'm woke. Did you see that? My eyes open. Yeah, it was weird. I had to stop the stream and start it again. I was glad that it joined back in. Yeah, as long as you're woke, everybody, just be woke. It's funny how the phrase woke only means one thing. So how's it going, everybody? Yeah, it really is stupid. It only means if you're aware of certain causes. Like, I think woke means that you just understand shit, okay? How about we just call it that? Anything. Yeah, can't stand that shit. Stay woke. What a joke. God, it's embarrassing. Yeah. And you know, Seattle right now is an embarrassment. Okay? And I'm sorry if you guys live there, but it's an embarrassment to mankind. If anybody thinks, oh, it's so neat that they have that little community there. Oh, it's so cool. It's ludicrous. Okay? They should actually send in the National Guard and take that shit right back over immediately. It's stupid. I mean, you can't allow even the hint of shit like that happening. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Sarah Beth Colagrass. She usually sticks some kind of crazy creature on my face. Domo Arigato gozaimasu. Yeah, it's not even, it's just idiocy, lunacy. The mayor is even dumber. Oh, it's the summer of love.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jesus. Anyways, I don't even think it's not even funny to me, the Seattle thing. To me, it's an embarrassment. We look like just chumps. Oh yeah, you can just do whatever you want, and it'll sort of ramp up. Some other city will try it, be a little bit more violent. See, the fact that you allowed it once makes people think that they can do it elsewhere.
I swear we're going to run out of woke causes. Seattle is in my prayers.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. And thank you, Sarah Beth Colagrass and Sherlock Hemlock. No, you can't see Blue and Chloe. They're doing something else. All right. There was an update on the. There was an article in the Sun magazine, or whatever the hell you want to call it, the Sun, It's in the description. You can go check it out. This was from today. Poison fears. Doomsday author Chad Daybell's first wife was found dead with pink foam coming out of her mouth. Family friend claims. Yeah, it's weird too, because Alex had foam coming out of his mouth too, right? On Tuesday, authorities served a search warrant at Chad's rural Idaho property where they unearthed the remains of his second wife, Lori Vallow's 2 children, Tylee Ryan, 17, and 7-year-old Joshua. Chad was arrested and charged with 2 counts of felony destruction, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm sure it's poisoning. I mean, there's no doubt at all that Tammy was poisoned, okay? 0.
Seattle, knock it off. It is embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Miss Red Badger. You nailed it. And hello, oh, by the way, my wife had, at least she told me she had a good birthday. You know, I got her card, her little chocolates, not the ones that you guys mentioned that I can't remember the name of. And then she got her phone, her new, big, you know, that a nice Samsung, the new ones, I guess. So you guys helped out with that. And then I made her breakfast, you know, blueberry pancake, you know, sausage, eggs, whatever. And she always sees your comments, and she said thank you to everybody. Razer, what the hell's that? Jesus. So there you go. So thank you guys. Court documents allege Chad hid or destroyed human remains. Okay. Let me see where all I really want to read about is what the friend said about foam. Okay, there it is. According to colleague Mandy Fowler, the day after her friend's death, she met with Tammy's daughter Emma, who shared concerns with her and others about having seen her dead mother with pink foam coming out of her mouth. Mandy and multiple sources reportedly told KSL that Chad refused to have an autopsy performed on his wife. They also expressed concerns about Tammy's funeral, which they felt was rushed. In December, police ruled that her death was suspicious and began investigating it alongside the disappearance of Vallow's children. Look at that schmuck. Look at that guy. Why is this lady even smiling at him? Give me a break. Wow, Chad. I wish I could have joined your group. He doesn't really have any shoulders. You notice that? Like, basically, he has a neck that slope into shoulders. That's something I've noticed. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It's almost as if he has no trapezoids, that his shoulders just appear right next to his neck. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, so eventually we're going to get to hear what's on the, what's in the autopsy. But right now, it's just anecdotal information coming from one of Tammy's daughters saying that there was pink foam. And I don't know, maybe she actually saw the original autopsy. Or not autopsy, but like notes written down, because there wasn't an autopsy. And, I mean, I don't know how she would have known, to be honest with you. Okay, well, there you go, everybody. That is it for the Daybell case. All right, if you want to watch, do Daybell over and over again. There's plenty of other channels. Okay, I'm going to be doing something else tonight. Now try to say Daybell 5 times fast. That's tough. I just tried it and couldn't do it. Da-na-na. Hey, thanks, Liz Parsons. All right, well, we got an update in the case of Sasha Krauss. You remember her? She was the Mennonite. There it is. Yeah, I remember she was just in this community here and she went missing right from this area and they couldn't find her. And then it seems like months later, MUNTS, they found her quite a ways away. And it turned out it was some Air Force, or no, a military person. I don't know if he was Air Force or not. Oh, I guess it was Luke Air Force Base is where he was from, so. Anyways, we've got an autopsy report here that we can take a look at. I don't know if it's not the official document, but it's in this article here. An autopsy has shown that Sasha Krauss, a Sunday school teacher from a Mennonite community in New Mexico, was killed by a combination of blunt force trauma and a gunshot wound. Krauss was found face down in the forest outside of Flagstaff in February. Her hands were bound behind her with duct tape, and her underwear was missing. The 27-year-old Sunday school teacher had disappeared more than a month earlier. Michael Madsen, Coconino County medical examiner, wrote in his report that a pregnancy test came back negative and did not list any sexual injuries. A 21-year-old U.S. Air Force airman stationed near Phoenix has pleaded not guilty to murder and other charges. Raised in a Mennonite family in Wisconsin, Mark Gooch joined the military to escape what he told investigators was a difficult, sheltered, and restricted life. Ah, weird. I didn't realize that Mark Gooch was also a Mennonite at one time, according to sheriff records obtained by the Associated Press. Authorities are still trying to determine how her body ended up steps away from a makeshift camp off a lonely lane road that cuts through the canyons and groves of towering pine trees. Well, I mean, maybe she was driven there, right? Sheriff officials used cell phone records to link Gooch to Krauss, but his attorney, Matthew Springer, said that doesn't mean his client is the killer. Gooch is jailed without bond. When authorities first questioned Gooch at the base, he said he thought it was about driving his motorcycle too fast. Coconino County Sheriff's Office Detective Lauren Jones asked him about his recent travel, his family history, and church. At the end of the 75-minute interview, she asked pointedly, "Did you abduct Sasha Krauss?" "No, ma'am," Gooch responded. "Did you kill Sasha Krauss?" "No, ma'am," he again said. The records hint at disdain for the Mennonite community by Gooch and at least 2 of his brothers. He never became part of the church, a process that involves a period of study, a commitment to the follower of Jesus, and baptism, usually in teenage years. Gooch said he felt like an outsider because his family wasn't born into the religion. He once told a friend that he found life on his family's organic dairy farm depressing and wanted to live like other people. His older brother, Sam Gooch, told investigators his brother holds a grudge against the Mennonite community over perceived mistreatment, but he didn't elaborate. No, this is weird. Did you guys even know that he was part of the, that he was once, like his family was part of the Mennonite church? I didn't know that. Yeah, it's great to see us back to our regular viewer size, right? Now we don't have to deal with as many trolls, even though they're still out there. Mark Gooch acknowledged traveling to Farmington, New Mexico on January 18th when Krauss was reported missing. He said he had time for a long drive. He left the base early that Saturday morning and drove north past Flagstaff's snow-capped mountains and through Navajo Reservation, stopping for food and then for gas in Farmington. He said he went to the Mennonite church. Oh, because he's admitting he went there. On the outskirts of town, where the words lamp of plus light are spelled out in painted white rocks on the side of a mesa, a nod to the publishing ministry where Krauss worked. He said he wanted to attend a service because he missed the fellowship. Ah, what a bunch of bullshit. But he hadn't checked to learn when service would be held, and instead hurried back to the base to meet a friend the next day. Yeah, right. Come on. Do people actually think that shit sells? Oh, yeah. No, I hate the Mennonite church, but I showed up there because I felt like I needed to go to church because I just missed it so much. Yeah, we've heard that, Justin. You've typed that in like 20 times now. Okay, yes, you're a new watcher. Thanks. All right, great. Gooch had his car detailed a day after the body was found. Also, Gooch's phone was the only device that communicated with the same towers as Krauss's phone before her signal dropped off, West Farmington prosecutor said. They are awaiting DNA test results and ballistics to match a bullet believed to have killed Krauss to a rifle that belonged to Gooch. Gooch was assigned to Luke Air Force Base. I mean, this guy, what an idiot. I mean, he even places himself on the church grounds. Isn't that amazing? But he pretends like, oh yeah, no, I was just driving by and, you know, I thought, what the heck? What time is your service? Oh, and I didn't get the answer, so then I drove back home. Right. Mm-hmm. Man, this article just goes on and on and on. But I just wanted to give you the update there. I might have to check that out later, see if there's anything. Looks like they're really putting the pieces together, though, on that one. Hopefully they can do something similar in the Daybell case. All right, here's a newer story here. Dad allegedly kills 2 teen girls in murder-suicide days after oldest daughter graduated. Police in Mesquite, Texas are investigating a suspected murder-suicide after 63-year-old father and his 2 teenage daughters were found dead at home early this week. Raymond Hadel is believed to have shot 17-year-old Natasha Hadel and her 16-year-old sister Alexa before turning the gun on himself, leaving a grisly scene that has stunned the suburban city. Officers were called to the home around 10:30 p.m. Monday after neighbors reported a possible shooting. When police first entered the home, they found Raymond Hadel lying dead on the floor. Authorities said he died of a single gunshot to the head. Further inside the home, they discovered the bodies of Natasha and Alexa, both dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Man. Neighbors in the small community remain shocked and saddened by what occurred just yards away.
Mesquite police say a father shot and killed his teenage daughters, then turned the gun on himself. Police officers responding to a shooting call at the home off Town East Boulevard made that discovery. One of his daughters had recently graduated from high school, the other a sophomore. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joining us live now with the details. Alex.
Hi, Heather. A very sad story at this point. Detectives are trying to figure out a motive. Police say that all 3 died from gunshot wounds. Now, both sisters attended Forney High School. One just graduated on June 1st. It was inside this 2-story home located near Town East Boulevard and Forney Road in Mesquite Monday night, where police say 63-year-old Raymond Hadel murdered his 2 teenage daughters, Natasha and Alexa, before killing himself.
Made entry into the home and discovered a 63-year-old male deceased from a gunshot wound. Officers continued searching the residence and located a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old female, both with apparent gunshot wounds, both deceased.
It was blocked off and they had taped all up, so we really couldn't really see
That's
nothing.
crazy.
Darian and Lindsay Daly live
The hell
2
was he
doors
doing?
down. They watched throughout the night as police
You sort of wonder if like there's a ex that he was just trying to punish.
investigators processed the crime scene.
So it's kind of shocking to hear, you know, what transpired.
Police say someone heard the gunshots around 10:30 p.m. Monday and called 911. Darian talked to the responding officer who made the discovery.
And I'm the one that had to kick the door in and see that, you know, and it was too late.
Detectives are working to determine a motive. Police say it appears Haydel and the teen's mother were no longer together.
I believe there's shared custody.
Both sisters attended Forney High School. A district spokesperson says 17-year-old Natasha just graduated. 16-year-old Alexa finished her sophomore year. A friend posted this picture of the sisters on graduation day.
And it's just like, wow, like they had so much to live for, and just in a blink of an eye, they lose their lives. And my husband had seen them go into the house that morning, and he didn't see them come back out. So it's just devastating just knowing that that was their last time us seeing them. I just feel so bad for the kids, you know. So I just keep them in my prayers.
Oh, that's crazy. Jesus. Well, if you get any updates on that one, let me know. I always like to figure out the why on something like that. It just drives me nuts. Okay, and then there's another sort of two different females here. Disabled, visually impaired women mysteriously disappear after taking a Lyft ride. And that's pretty ominous right here. I mean, they can't see and they're gone. The Wichita Police Department and Kansas Bureau of Investigation have issued a statewide endangered person advisory for a missing 23-year-old Kansas woman, Savannah Schneider. I was going to make a joke and say Nick's sister, but forget it. Who is visually impaired, was last seen at her Wichita home off 13th Street North and Mays Road on May 31st. According to the KBI, Schneider got into a Lyft ride on June 1st, but apparently didn't tell her family or friends where she was going. Let's see. Savannah Schneider, according to KBI, Schneider got into a Lyft ride June 1st, but apparently didn't tell her family or friends. Okay. CBS 12 reports that friends and family said Schneider didn't bring an overnight bag with her. I thought this was... Oh, this is just one individual. I thought there was two here. CBS 12 reports that friends and family said that Schneider didn't bring an overnight bag with her, and it's something that she takes with her everywhere when she isn't staying away from home. She also left behind her beloved dog. A neighbor's security camera, according to ABC, captured Schneider sitting on the doorstep Monday before a Lyft van pulled up into her driveway and picked her up. Friend Simone Shields, well, I mean, can't they just get a hold of the Lyft driver and say, hey, where'd you take her? Schneider hasn't sent out a text message since she disappeared, which is unusual since she always connecting with people and texting. Friends told the outlet they're now worried for her safety and feel she is in a bad situation. I believe she's being held, Shields said. I need help. We need help. We have to find her. And this is the official report here. The Wichita Police Department is offering a $1,000 reward for any information that leads to locating the missing 23-year-old, Savannah Schneider. The investigation led to a search today in an area south of Hayesville after it was learned Schneider's cell phone was last pinged in Hayesville area. WPD detectives said, maybe I should get this one in here. This one seems pretty crazy. Another Savannah. This will be the third Savannah that we have in here, at least. Okay. Man, Blue and Chloe are going nuts again. Yeah, she's running around like a... Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Oh my god. She was running back and forth 100,000 miles an hour. It was unbelievable. Hey, Chloe, are you okay, bud? Wow. Slow down, Chloe. Man, that was amazing. Investigators led to search today in an area. Let's see. WPD detective, Sedgwick County Sheriff, detectives. Let me go to here. Schneider was last seen on Sunday, May 31st, at her home in the 10,300 block of Alamo. Okay, let me try that. Yeah. I mean, look at that. She's just running around. That's what I was telling you that one time. Oh, that's wild. Chloe the Psycho. I'm looking her up right now. Yep, that's her, and this should be it. Yep, this is it right here. Got the actual address, which is right there. I guess she doesn't really live off of that street, though. It's right there. So apparently she was just sitting on this porch right here, waiting for an Uber. Snyder was last seen Sunday, May 31st at her home in the 10,300 block. You alright, bud? She just bugs Blue so much that he goes nuts. See, she is described as 5'8", 110 pounds with blue eyes and brown hair. WPD is concerned that her for her and needs help locating her. If you have any information on this case or Schneider's whereabouts, please call 911 or Crime Stoppers. Now, let me go back to where they said that they were searching. Investigation led to a search today of an area south of Hayesville, after it was learned Schneider's cell phone last pinged in the Hayesville area. So let's see where that is. Okay, so that's over here. That's her home, and then south of this area. So probably when her car was driving on this highway right here. Okay. So we got this in here, and when we get updates, we'll already have the little folder built and ready to go. Right? There doesn't seem to be much more information on it. That's for sure. Hello. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna move on to, well, I think I might have another one here. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's a crazy one here. Look at this. Body of a woman found stuffed in suitcase in the Philadelphia Kensington section. Philadelphia police were investigating Thursday after a woman's body was found inside a large black suitcase in the city's Kensington section. Authorities said the body was found at about 9:50 a.m. near the corner of Kensington and Allegheny Avenue. The woman was pronounced dead on the scene. Well, hey, thanks for adding that. You know, thanks for adding that in there. We didn't know that she was dead when you said a woman's body was found inside a large black suitcase. I really appreciate, though, that you put in there that she was pronounced dead at the scene. Additional information about her death was not immediately available. Don't you love it when they help you out like that? Oh yeah, sure, yeah. She committed suicide in a suitcase. Yep. That's right. Thanks, Richard Watts. And don't forget, we're still doing the. What time is it? It's at 12. Okay, well, we're talking about this one right now, so don't reference another one when we're... Let's see. I mean, it's just great. Philadelphia police were investigating Thursday after a woman's body was found inside a large black suitcase. And then you tell us that the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. You don't say the word body. You would say a woman was found inside of a suitcase if she was still alive. It's almost like they think we're dumb or something. You got to fill that in for us. Thank you. You know what? You know why they probably do that? Because there's probably somebody out there that after reading Thursday after a woman's body was found inside a large black suitcase, they go, well, was she alive or dead? And then they go, oh, God. Wow, what an idiot. Okay, how about... let's just start putting that in even after we say that. Right? Thanks, Richard Watts. Yeah, I think that's probably about right. Scary, actually. Okay, now I think I am done with the updates, and now I'm going to move on to... I don't remember who it was. Remember, somebody sent me an email. Let me see if I can quickly say who sent me the email. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Where is that person? Oh, there. I think it was like Menke. I don't know. It just says M-E-N-K-E. All right. Anyway, she sent me the cold case of the first case that we're going to be talking about, and that's Carl Galbraith. Hey, thanks, Renee Folk. I was thinking people weren't like this. It's funny. It's like whenever you cover the Valo Daybell case, everybody, you know, it's like yeah, and everyone's excited. But when I cover these, they're not quite as excited. I always think people aren't as interested or something, even though we haven't got to that yet.
Hugging face, smiling face, growing heart.
Yeah. So this one's it's weird. Let me get to the folder for that. And Carl Galbraith, he went to this grade school here. He was only 13 years old at the Randall Consolidated School. He lived in Chicago with his mom, but his mom sent him to live with his uncle in, I think it was this town. What the hell's the name of that town? It was right. Well, it's in the article, so. But he was sent to live in this area in Wisconsin with his uncle. And he would actually hitchhike and shit at 13. Man, that's just crazy. But, I mean, maybe back in 77 that was still kind of normal or something. I don't think even then I would have let my kid hitchhike at 13. Oh, thanks. Tish RN. Okay, here we go.
I sent the article. Gray Menke is my home email name.
Okay, cool. Carl Galbraith. Carl Galbraith, 13 of Twin Lakes. That's where his uncle lived. Died Saturday, December 17th of multiple stab wounds. Born on January 10th, 1964. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Carl Galbraith. He came to Twin Lakes 5 years ago from Chicago and lived with his aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Lewis Gordon. He received his education at the Randall School in Township of Randall. Survivors include his mother, Grace. You know, it goes through and lists the survivors. All right, let me go to the next. That was on the 19th, December 19th, 1977. This is the 20th, the following day. Law enforcement authorities in Wisconsin. Thank you, David Myers. Law enforcement authorities in Wisconsin and Illinois are searching for the killer of a 13-year-old Twin Lakes boy whose divorced mother brought him from Chicago because she thought it would be safer. I mean, how ironic is that, huh? I mean, I would, if I lived in Chicago and I had kids, I'd want them the hell out of there too. Okay, I know there's safe parts of it, but, you know, it's a freaking war zone there, to be honest with you. Thank you, David Meyer. Carl Galbraith, living in nearby Twin Lakes with an aunt and uncle, was found Saturday with his throat slashed 6 times and his back stabbed 13 times. Okay, so there's rage going on here, right? The body was lying face down in 3 inches of water along a 300-foot private driveway east of the community of New Munster, Illinois, just across the state line from his home. Authorities said he bled to death between 6 and 8 hours earlier. In addition to the stab wounds, he had 2 broken fingers. Captain Roger Zian of the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department said Carl had told friends that he planned to hitchhike from home Friday afternoon to a bank in Richmond, withdraw some money, and then hitchhike to a friend's house in Illinois. Zihan said Carl did make the withdrawal, so he did go to the bank, he did take the money out, but he never arrived at the friend's house. He was last seen walking east on Highway 173 after leaving the bank. Okay, so right here is the bank. I sort of thought this was a bank because he was heading east on this road right here. They call it Kenosha Street, but it's actually got a highway number on it. Let's see, what did they say again? That was Highway 173. Yeah. There it is. See how it says 173 right there? And then when you zoom in, it kind of disappears. But this is, yeah, there it is right there. 173. Yeah, so he's at this bank right here. He withdrew $10. So if you go down to Street View here. And it had, I guess it even had the same name back then, apparently. So he was at this bank, and then he started walking down this road right here. And he must have been hitchhiking, but he was walking the whole time. And then he's heading down that direction. And we'll just, let me get back to the article here. And he was last seen walking east on Highway 173. That's just what I was doing there. The money he had withdrawn was not on his body, but Zian said the amount was so small, he only withdrew $10, that Carl could have spent it. Money is not being considered a motive for the crime. The boy's green parka was also missing. Funeral services were to be today at Twin Lakes. Okay, so that was 1977. There wasn't really much articles going on back then. Although there did seem to be... Let's see what this one says right here. I found some articles, images of articles on other sites. There was a site that I found that actually was talking about this case. And, you know, they're actually wondering if John Wayne Gacy had something to do with it. I mean, it was amazing because right around that time, you had Dahmer and... Well, not Dahmer quite yet. Well, maybe. I don't remember exactly. But you definitely had John Wayne Gacy right there. And they were trying to see if he had something to do with it. Let's see. Investigation into 3 unsolved Wisconsin slayings have been reopened because of reports an Illinois man suspected in the deaths of up to 32 young men and boys has done construction work in Wisconsin, authorities said. Illinois authorities said the PDM Contractors, a firm operated by John Gacy of Norwood Park Township, Illinois, has done extensive work throughout the Midwest, including Wisconsin. Being reinvestigated were the 1977 murder of Carl Galbraith, 13, of Twin Lakes, whose body was found in the town of Wheatland in Kenosha County, the 1976 slaying of John C. Zera. Okay, Anderson said he could place Gacy in Kenosha County on at least one occasion during 1977, and that he may have worked there or visited on other occasions. He said Gacy was in Kenosha County to help cousins dismantle equipment in a restaurant after the business had gone bankrupt. A spokesman for Kenosha County Sheriff's Department confirmed Gacy had done work at the restaurant of an acquaintance in Paddock Lake during the past 2 months. Officials said they currently have no evidence linking Gacy to the deaths of Zera and Wesley, but they don't want to leave any unanswered questions. So that's pretty interesting. So there was this long gap of information, and then we move forward. This article has a lot more. This is 2010, and one thing that's interesting is that 1 month after he was found killed, somebody called the police and told them where to find that jacket that's missing. And I found every one of the locations. I saw that there was one other video on YouTube after I went through it. I just did a search for him to see if there's anything else. And this girl, she only had like 90 something subs, but she did a pretty good job of she found most of the same locations. Others she just used the photographs that you could find, but yeah, so he headed down this direction, right? Then his body was found right here. The description is east of 341 331st Street, 31st Street, on this road right here, on Geneva Road, on a 300-foot driveway. And, well, the only 300-foot driveway is this one. And so that is exactly where his body was found, in 3 inches of water in like a ditch off the side. And we don't know how far up it was, but it was on this driveway right here. Okay, so that was, his body was found the day after he went missing at 11:30 a.m. But then a month later, the police got a phone call, and let me see if I can, where that is. Oh yeah, right here. They got a phone call, and it explained exactly where they could find the coat, that it was in the northwest corner of a cemetery. And they described it in the paper, and it was really hard to find this for some reason, because the cemetery is called English Prairie Cemetery. And then they said, well, it's the road has the same name. I kind of thought, like, what? The road's called English Prairie Cemetery Road? And I was like, well, anyways, it turns out it was English Prairie Road. And, it's very close to where he was walking. So he's walking on 173, right? Then they find his jacket right here at this miniature cemetery, right in the northwest corner, which is northwest, like that. And if you go down to Street View, you can still see it there. I don't think it's an active cemetery anymore. As a matter of fact, they tore down a sign that was on there. But the coat must have been found right around in this area. And they believe that the person who called to tell them about that coat probably is likely the killer. Well, he was 13 years old, so. All right. Andrew Mayer could have been talking to a killer. Mayer had been a police officer for only 9 months when he received a phone call telling him where to find the jacket of a murdered 13-year-old boy. He described the coat and what was on the coat, Mayer said. There is no doubt that he was either the person who committed the crime or someone who had intimate knowledge of it. Carl Galbraith was found dead shortly before noon on December 17, 1977, in a water-filled ditch in New Munster, Wisconsin. Let's see. He was stabbed multiple times and his throat was slashed. More than 33 years later, 2 Kenosha County, Wisconsin detectives have reopened the cold case. Mayer, now 70 years old, still can recall the details as if it just happened. I wonder if he's still out there. He'd be 80 now. Kenosha County contacted me, and I've spoken with them, reviewed everything that I thought could be of any help. He said, I would absolutely love to see this case resolved. Galbraith was Canadian, but his parents had divorced and his mother lived in Chicago. She sent Carl and his sister to Twin Lakes to live with his aunt because she thought it was safer. He was last seen December 16, 1977, hitchhiking along Route 173 after withdrawing $10 for Christmas presents from the McHenry Savings and Loan at the corner of routes 12 and 173. He was supposed to be on his way to a friend's house, but his body was found the next day at the end of a long residential driveway off the old Highway 50, now Geneva Road. About a month later, Mayer received the phone call about the jacket, which directed police to English Prairie Cemetery, the tiny cemetery on a road of the same name, tucked between Wilmot and Richardson Roads, is only a short distance south of where Carl was last seen hitchhiking. Yep. So, or southeast actually, is what they said. So I just kind of put him hitchhiking around in this area. I don't know why I have it in the woods, so I'll just put it right there. And then, you know, southeast, and this is where the cemetery is. So he's seen hitchhiking. It almost feels like he was taken to the cemetery. I'd like to know if he was dumped where he was found. They would know that by the amount of blood that they could find. No, he didn't have any of the money with him. We already said that. Yeah, that was in the first article that we read. Set up the homeowner. What are you talking about? Yeah. So basically he was right here. It doesn't look like a circle to me. He was right here at the bank. Was heading this way hitchhiking. His coat's found right there. I just put cool design. This is kind of a weird. Look at that. I put this in the community section. I thought that was kind of neat that they made a maze out of all kinds of, you know, Lincoln, all kinds of stuff there. But, you know, right here is where his coat was found. And then his body's found up here. So it's just kind of thing like that. I mean, he went to school here. I don't know. I mean, he may have lived in this area. So I guess if you're thinking that that's a circle way up like that, then sure. What does Uber have to do with this? What we're talking about right now, Steve? Are you guys still talking about Uber? I'm sure the relationship was fine with the uncle. This is somebody that had rage against him. But it could have just, you know, a psycho killer type, right? I mean, somebody, it doesn't sound, I can't find anywhere where it says he's been sexually assaulted or anything like that. What does Interstate 94 have to do with it? Anyways, here's the... He was heading east on 173. And somehow his jacket is right here. You sort of wonder if the killer put it there, hoping, oh, wow, somebody will see this really quick. And then when it wasn't seen quick enough, because he wanted to make the paper and get more coverage, he called in to say, hey, the coat's in the cemetery, right? You ever notice how they do that a lot? And then all of a sudden, you know, the day later, well, we don't know when the coat was here. He could have put that there later. But then his body was found way up here. And you sort of wonder, was he killed there or just dumped there? And maybe he was killed at the cemetery. But he fought with the guy, and the guy, you know, killed him out of rage. Right, but it doesn't really matter though, right, Tish? I mean, I'm just talking about where he was killed. Alright, so it's right in this area right here. I mean, there's highways everywhere. They're all over the place. He told me some stories. He referred to him as Jeff, not Jeffrey. Who are you referring to? Is this case right here, Susan, or? Why can't you hear me? You have to turn up your volume. Yeah, well, just because you're from Illinois doesn't mean you're associated with this case whatsoever. Yeah, 94 is way over here. Okay. I can see it. See, it's way off to the side there. I see. I think it was a month later. So the person he didn't like, this killer seems to me like he killed, and then he wasn't getting enough press because, like I said, there wasn't a ton of articles in there. And nobody found the jacket, the clue that he wanted them to find. So he had to call in himself and say it was there. Either that or he had the jacket and thought, you know what, I can get more press if I just throw this jacket back out somewhere where they'll find it. Or put it somewhere and then I'll call in and tell them to find it. I hope they still have that jacket because there might be some sort of DNA on that thing. That'd be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? Well, if you live there, you know how close 94 is, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's that case. Doesn't seem like there's a lot more. Let me see. Let's go. Let me get more. Read the rest of this article anyway. We received a call from a person who said to go to the northwest corner of the English Prairie Cemetery and we'd find the jacket Carl was wearing. It was right where he said it was. Mayor didn't recognize the voice. And back then, there was no phone call recording equipment at the station. Absolutely. Of course, a case like that has been on my mind, he said. I find it very satisfying that Kenosha County has decided to reopen the case and perhaps bring it to a close. Mayor said he had theories, but they were strictly theories. The case was reopened in part because of a phone call from McHenry County State Attorney's Office, offering a possible tip relating to someone who was incarcerated. Phil Hiscock, chief of McHenry County State Attorney's Office, Criminal Division, declined to comment. Ruth said that it didn't necessarily pan out, but he did not elaborate. Right here. They're hoping that a new perspective and advances in technology will help them find the killer. Well, if they say that, advancements in technology, that means they are aware they have some forensic information, but at this time couldn't do anything with it. So hopefully, whatever that is that they're referring to in that little paragraph right there, whatever that is, hopefully they are submitting that now. Yeah. It's kind of cool reading this down here. It says, where his body was found, they were able to match up old photographs by lining up old oak trees. That's the same shit that I do all the time on Google Earth. The nearby house still stands in the background. Where the jacket was found, the small cemetery with the wrought iron fence is still there and still surrounded by empty land. There's no time limit on a homicide investigation. We have people, not necessarily suspects, but high-interest people we believe have knowledge of this case, Ruth said. We believe the answers are here. And you know what'll be funny? They'll finally get some DNA. They'll figure out who he is, and, or if, I guess if he died, it would be was. And it'll be none of the people that they thought it was all those years. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if you can say good chance, you know. I don't know, I don't know if we can say, well, yeah, great chance it's going to get solved, We don't know. Definitely a chance, though. Yeah, it's always somebody under the radar, like Stacy was saying. Almost every time. It's never, oh, wow, yep, that's the guy we thought the whole time. And it's amazing how many of them are dead people now. But at least they get the shame for throughout history. They just don't know it. But we do. Yeah, no problem, Tish. Yeah, I mean, who knows where this person lived or anything. It's interesting. I mean, if that guy had made that phone call today, he'd be busted. I mean, at least it would have... Or even, like, if he'd done that in 1998. You know, before people realized you could... I don't know. He just made that call knowing... See, they're always one step ahead. They always learn what the technology is. Because now there aren't quite as many... The same sort of serial killer types that were in the 70s and early 80s. They seem to have changed a little bit. Because now they know that they can't leave any DNA. So their sexual gratification that they might have wanted to get, they can't actually do. It's crazy. Right, that's what I was saying. I just said that, Tish. He wanted to put out, put the coat there so that, he wanted recognition in the paper because they weren't covering it enough. What's on Jason Online? This case right here? What does it have to do with this one here, though? Libra scales. Are we talking about this case right here? There's an article from the United States. A swim coach named Daniel Acker molested boys, and there were pictures of this kid found in the basement of his home. Huh. All right. Well, I didn't find that article looking up this stuff. Let's see. That's kind of crazy. What article is that? I mean, it'd help a lot if you instead of saying, there's an article from 2015, okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, there's one from 2020, too. Yeah, but isn't that the other cases that we were talking about? John Zera. Okay, here it is. One of the cops picked up a gold matchbox-sized Buick Riviera. On the bottom, in magic marker, were the numbers 13 and 14 and two names. Oh, let me read that. Now, this sounds kind of interesting. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for the information. In 2009, police investigating the unsolved 1976 murder of Franklin High School freshman John Zera got their first viable lead in decades. A man called the Alice West Milwaukee Recreation Department saying one of the swim coaches there was a pedophile. The man claimed the coach, Daniel Acker, had molested him 30 years earlier when he was 12. I know. Well, here's the thing is, why would you stab him and so many times in the back like that? A man called, let's see, I know he's working for you, the man said. You have a responsibility to protect the children he's teaching. Just 2 weeks earlier, one of the parents had complained that Acker was showering with young boys after swimming lessons. Following her conversation with the man, Acker's boss contacted the police. The swim coach was more than happy to talk with detectives. After hours of chatting at the station, he agreed to let the police search his Waukesha condo. At first, they found nothing out of the ordinary. Then they headed down to the basement. Sealed boxes under the stairs contained models, classic cars, ambulances, police vehicles, and fire trucks. The crown jewels of the collection were miniature police station and fire station, their intricate details pieced together from balsa wood. Officers lifted the roofs of the models to peer inside. The crown jewels of the collection were miniature police station and fire station, their intricate details pieced together from balsa wood. But officers lifted the roofs of the models to peer inside. That's when they saw the photos. Faces stared out from the walls. Tiny LED lights hung over each image, wired to illuminate the macabre museum. Officers recognized some of the images from the posters and milk cartons, missing children. Others had been murdered, including 14-year-old Conorak Cynthia Somphone, a victim of a serial killer, Jeffrey Dahmer. See, this guy could have just been like, I mean, why did he have that picture in there if he really did kill Galbraith, right? So why did he have one of the victims of Dahmer? One of the cops picked up a gold matchbox-sized Buick Rivera. On the bottom, in magic marker, were the numbers 13 and 14 and two victims. Number 13 was Carl Galbraith, a Kenosha boy whose throat was slashed in 1977. And number 14 was John Zera. In a dresser in the bedroom closet, more disturbing finds, a photo album and journal focused solely on John. In one photo, John and two other boys smiled from a coach, two dogs beside them. Other photo looked as if they had been captured during secret surveillance. And some Mark and Phil Zera appeared much older than the teenagers they had been when their middle brother was killed. Weird. So like he was still taking pictures of them. Or you know, he was a coach of them. That's crazy. That sounds kind of disturbing right there. Officers also discovered maps and photos of Whitnall Park where John's body was found. See, it sounds like he might have something to do with that death for sure. Looping script in red, black, and blue ink filled several notebooks. As officers flipped through, they realized the topic of every page was the same: John's murder. I wanted to see if I could see that. Friday, February 20th, 1976, John Zera was caught, knocked down on the ground, possibly unconscious, then struck on his right forehead with a round rock, which sadly caused the boy's death. February 23rd, 1976, I see the first news of this missing boy. Strange disappearance by an untroubled boy whose coat was still in his school locker. I read the papers and follow the search progress. I feel compelled to help and strangely sense Whitnall Park as one area to search. The entries, the first one dated before the case hit the media, continued for decades. March 13th, 1975, 19 years of growth shows these thick twigs coming from the ground at the very spot that the boy was killed. Wow, like he has knowledge of that shit. April 19th, 2002, he wrote, every year from 1977 to this day, in the months of February, I reread the journal with hopes I can see info and can help me find John Zera's killer. Today I just completed the photo album and the rewriting of this journal. February 2004, visited John C. Zera's resting place again A tall bearded male was wandering there as in my visits near the date of John's death. Police had spoken to Acker a few times back in the 1970s, briefly considering him a suspect in John's murder after they got a tip about his attraction to teenage boys. But after Acker passed a polygraph, they concluded he was probably just some weirdo who didn't have anything to do with the crime. By the time the police found the bizarre collection in Acker's home, Detective Kent Schoonover, then 49, had spent 8 years trying to solve John's murder, pursuing leads in the cold case whenever day-to-day crime hit a lull. Solid and imposing with Tom Selleck mustache, Schoonover took his time building rapport with suspects, convincing them that their confidants of his trustworthiness. He'd solved a good number of cases that way, including one in which a killer's ex-wife finally agreed to testify for the prosecution after nearly 2 years of visits from the detective. Yeah, I don't know if I want to just keep going through this, but who knows if it's creepy, right? But he could have been, like we look at all these cases too, right? I don't make weird little models and shit, but I do have folders. Wouldn't I? Let me ask you this: if my computer was searched and they thought, "Oh wow, is Gray a serial killer?" I mean, I would be toast. My God, they would come over to my computer and it would look like this. All these folders are cases. Okay? See all these? This is half of them because I've actually moved some off of this drive right here. But man, they would look at this and go, "Wow, what? This guy's capable of anything." So I don't know what the deal is with this guy. I don't know if he was ever convicted of anything. Does anybody know?
On a second, like this is
Here we
of
go.
all these missing dead
there it
children with little lights shining on the pictures of the kids on the walls of this model.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
And these Matchbox cars, and on the bottom of the Matchbox cars were the names of all these victims.
Huh.
They also recovered a journal that he maintained on the Zera homicide going all the way back to 1976.
I wonder why he numbered them like that, too. I mean, are these his victims or just cases he covered? I don't know. Maybe they should write his name down. If DNA ever points to him, they could say, "Yeah, see? Yeah. Well, thanks for that. That added a little extra to the story. It does sound like they have something, though. They were just waiting for technology. So hopefully they're going to reopen that sucker back up. Yeah, I'm not sure about why it was numbering, yeah. I agree, and you're working a dead file. What does that mean? I don't get it. Okay, now I'm going to move on to another one. I think. It doesn't seem like there's much interest in this one. Isn't that amazing? See, if I put if I put the, Chad Daybell or something in the title, all of a sudden, yay, everybody wants to watch it. Hey, thanks, Cairo and KitKat. Did I miss the donation wave? Yeah, you did. You missed it, Kit Kat. Well, there wasn't one, but that's why you missed it. Me? I said a bad word? Yeah, the other one I didn't map out because I thought we could just do that, figure it all out together. So I'm going to put it right next to Carl Galbraith's folder. And then this one's a little different. And this one, to me, it does sort of feel like it has the potential to have Dahmer as part of it. More than the other one. Thank you, Paisley Dreams.
Anyone else for the wave?
Yeah, we got to keep the our donations for the end of the month. I mean, I tell you guys the ratios and everything. I mean, nobody has to do anything, but
Great
now
work,
I'm so
Greg.
used to being able to
Thanks for
donate
giving
a
me
lot.
something interesting to watch every single night. TV sucks.
Well, thank you, Cairo. Thanks, Miss Mamie and Paisley Dream. Christina Kubacek.
I was late tonight. Did I miss a donation wave by chance? A woman surfing, woman surfing, woman surfing.
Wow, thanks, Streamlabs, for letting us know. Well, actually, thank you, Streamlabs, because I can't tell what that is. When I look at that, it looks like pizza. How in the hell is that a woman surfing? That must be a girl code emoji. Something that looks like a pizza actually means a woman surfing. That's amazing. Thank you, Carolina T.
Love all your work, Gray. Wave, 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 wave.
I'm waving, I swear. Christina Kubacek, Claudia Neubauer, Carolina T, and Miss Kiss.
Amen.
Amen. Donate $1, he says, if you hate Chris Watts. Thanks, Rebecca and Tammy Sutherland. Oh, and Jessica Schubach. You snuck that one in on me there. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, here's some cool news, everybody, that I'll tell you guys about.
Wave, wave, wave.
Is that 3 Minute of Mystery. John Lorden and Morph and myself are going to be doing this season on the Allison Watterson case, and we just had a meeting today with Misty.
Waving. Retired parents' government money. You get some taxes back.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know how it works for me, but I do put it on my taxes, but doesn't seem to touch the federal one much. Yeah, so we had a meeting today.
Donate $1 if you hate Chris Watts.
Yeah, so what is that, Jessica Hopper? That doesn't look like a woman surfing. Well, maybe. She's kind of crouched down on a little red board and then a wave.
I'll take a ride on the wave.
Nice, Sherry. Nice, Sherry. Thank you. Irregardless, I could care less. Man, that's trolling me. That's trolling me right there.
Wave. Woman surfing, medium light skin tone.
Yeah, stay woke, irregardless, if you could care less. Yeah, I don't know if he solves crimes, but he's good at... I mean, none of us really solve crimes too much. We just figure stuff out. Yeah, Morse, he's really good at interviews and telling the stories and, you know, theorizing about stuff. I don't know how many of us... You know, we're just trying to get the information out to people, and then if the right person hears it, they can come forward.
Irregardless, I could care less.
And we're good at investigating too, because we actually figure out what happens in cases before they actually come up and give you the answers. So I like that part of it. Yeah, he's probably one of the better interviewers out there, Morph. He doesn't interrupt them. He lets them just keep talking. Ask relevant follow-up questions. And it's weird because all of us seem to think of the same options, basically, I guess is what you'd say in cases when we look at them. Yeah, he is very calming. You don't really ever see... Even when he's mad. Like, I've actually seen Morph mad, but he doesn't seem mad. You know? Like, he's mellow when he's mad or something. I don't know how to explain it, but... Man, it's so fun. I always like meeting with them, though. We always have a good time, joke around a little bit. You know, there was one episode where one time we were just meeting, and I'm always so far back in my seat that I'm small, so I try to get it up, and I go, is my face the right size? And they're like, yeah, great. What, are you trying to get your face bigger? Now that's like the joke. Every time, you know, and I play with it too. I self-deprecate myself. Like, today, during this meeting, Misty said, you know, I can't see the rest of you. I can only see gray. Because she didn't have the tile view, just the one where you're talking. So I said, well, you know, what's wrong with that? Okay? Isn't that better than, you know, and they go, yeah, you know. Anyways, it's kind of funny, but. What does that mean, Richard Watts? You always type stuff and I don't understand it half the time. I'm trying to figure that out. It's all, you know, and it's weird too because it's always all caps. Almost like you're emphasizing that nobody can understand you. Chris is going to have head etches over and over. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't tell me that. No, I'm talking about the actual writing itself, though. It's okay that it's all caps. If it bothered me, I would have said something. Yes, he did. What does that mean? Yes, he did. Yes, he did what? Yeah, I know what you're saying there. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. Whenever I'm with Morph, he's always just like a calming presence. You know, he's not obnoxious or anything like that. What does that mean, yes, he did? What when hey Kim, when you say yes, he did, what are you referring to? No, I didn't see it, Kimmy Monster. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Okay? I'm not reading everything. So if you read it, good for you. Good for you, Kimmy Monster. I'm doing a show. Have you noticed that? You know, that's what's always strange is people go, they act like they type something in and then they get pissed if you didn't read their question. Okay, but I didn't see it, Kimmy Monster. How would I see that, Kimmy Monster? Jesus. I have nothing to do with him. Never met them. Oh, God. I literally probably get to read 10% of what you guys type in. It's only times like this where I'm staring at the screen. I can read, and even then it's like 60%. But when I'm doing my show, do you think I'm reading your comments? I mean, I know a lot of you love those YouTubers that do this, okay? This is their show. Watch this. I'll do it for you. You love these ones. They go like this. Hey, everybody. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, there's this case that I'm talking about, and, yeah. Oh, God. It's, it's really... Okay, I'm not going to be doing that for you guys. I'm just going to do the show the way I do it, where you can act... I put you at the crime scene using Google Earth and map everything out, and we're going to do it like that, all right? That's how I'm going to be doing my show. Now, if you like those other kind, you go watch those, and I won't hold it against you. I'll be surprised that you'd ever be interested in that, but and no, don't go, oh, Gray's talking about this one. No, I'm not talking about a specific person. And the thing is, if you're making a YouTube video, I think that's fine, right? But some people like that. I'm talking about the live streamers. It's like, man, I need to see what's going on, man. Back to you, Jim. Hey, thanks, Rosa. I'm sure I'm supposed to say it all together, though, right? Rosa. Yeah, it's strange how you get some people, they show up and they... Who's talking about that you can't pay to be a freak? They pointed it out. I wonder if she's the one that sent me that email. You know, gosh, I feel so, like I don't get to have the thing next to my name, so I feel like I'm an outcast. Just don't worry about it. Nobody's, just try to be a normal viewer where you're just watching, you're kind of observing, trying to figure things out like the rest of us. Commenting on the show and who said what and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's not interesting. Nobody cares. And okay, well, it sounded very similar to what I got in an email. How they felt like they were, because they didn't get the little blue next to their name, they got really upset. Yeah, maybe. Okay, you guys ready for the next one? This one's crazy, this next case here. Alright, here we go. And I went back in time to find the first references before they even knew who this was. Alright? I mean, boom. You're just hit with this one. This guy, this unsolved case is Eric Hansen. 1983. Kenosha. The decomposed headless torso of a man was discovered by a stroller along a roadway at Petrifying Springs Park. So let's go ahead and look that up. We're going to do this whole thing together. See, a lot of the stuff isn't really that far away. Let me guess, mainly because it's all in the same county. Looks like maybe they turned it into a golf course. I'm kind of thinking that wasn't one. Let me see what it looked like a long time ago. 2000. All right. Let me zoom in a little bit. Nope, right there. Okay. So you can see yeah, there we go. Now I can go back to, no, it doesn't let me go any further back. That's 1984. Kind of looks like the golf course is still there in 1984. Yeah, definitely looks like it was there, so. Okay, the decomposed headless torso of a man was discovered by a stroller along a roadway at Petrifying Springs Park in the Kenosha County town of Summers Tuesday, so that just the day before this article. He said the torso minus the head, arms, and legs. So so it didn't have any. It just had. Let's see what it said. The torso minus the head, arms, and legs. So basically, all it was the torso. I mean, like it says, right? I mean, it's crazy. And they were all found. The torso itself was found in a plastic garbage bag around 12:30 p.m. and was sent to the State Crime Laboratory in Madison for investigation. Yeah, I know it's still there. I'm looking at it. I'm talking about the golf course. I was just wondering if the golf course was something newer, but looks like it was there in 84. This was a case where the body was dismembered elsewhere and dropped off, he said. Sent to discuss the case with the Kenosha County authorities was a police detective from Racine, where Helen Sebastian, 53, was slain after being reported missing February 20th. Parts of her body, including her head, arms, and legs, were found last March, but the torso was not found. Wow. Parts of her body, including her head, arms, and legs, were found last March, but the torso is not found. Weird. So you'd think, wow, okay, we got the torso then. Yeah, I already looked up all this stuff before, so I'm gonna know. All right, and here we go. This is 6 days later. The headless, armless torso found in Petrifying Springs Park October 4th has been identified as that of 18-year-old Eric R. Hansen from the town of St. Francis. St. Francis, with a population of about 10,000, is between Cudahy and Milwaukee. I can't really make out that word. It's blurred out a little bit. Dr. Mary Ellen Peters of the University of Wisconsin Hospitals and Clinic, who identified the body through x-rays, said she had not established the cause of death. Well, probably his head missing and his arms and legs. I'm just joking. I'm sure he probably died from something else and then he was dismember. The town police department said Hansen's mother, Carol, notified authorities on October 6th that her son was missing. Later that day, the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department contacted the town's police about the body. The officer said that Hansen had no police record. Both the officer and Lieutenant Lee Ormson of the Sheriff's Department said they had no leads as to who might have committed the murder. We know very little about Hansen at the time, Ormson said this morning. We are doing a background search, and some of our officers are to go up to St. Francis. The torso was found in a plastic bag by a hiker. All right, and then the next day, this is probably a younger picture of him. Doesn't look like an 18-year-old there. Yeah, Eric Hansen, 18, was the I laughed at a comment. Okay, everybody, I wasn't laughing at the case. See, what sucks is you have to actually explain that, or somebody go, "Did you hear Gray? Oh golly, did you hear Gray? He was laughing. Gray was laughing. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!"
Well, that's just because they're not paying attention to what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Eric Hansen, 18, was the prototype of the troubled youth, alienated from his family, his school, and society in general. It was Hansen's torso that was found on October 4th in Petrifying Springs Park. Carol Hansen, St. Francis, called sheriff's deputies on October 6th after learning that the torso wrapped in a plastic bag had a concave chest, just like her son. I wonder how she found that out. Dr. Mary Ellen Peters Madison of the University of Wisconsin Hospital and Clinic identified Hansen as a victim after comparing torso x-rays to earlier x-rays taken of Hansen's deformed chest. Carol Hansen said her son was an occasional runaway, staying away from home sometimes for weeks or sometimes months at a time. He would stay with friends, return home briefly, and then leave again. The young man's last absence had been 3 weeks. Prior to leaving home, he told his mother he was going to Indiana. That was the last time she spoke with him. She said her son had talked about finding a job, but she could not say if he ever found one. Administrators and teachers at St. Francis High School said the boy's early enthusiasm for school waned quickly. After he became a habitual truant, he was placed in a program for children with emotional disabilities. Teacher Vilma Illenworth said Hansen demonstrated a strong elementary and junior high school background. Though bright and perceptive, she said, Hansen never applied himself and eventually had a below-average label attached to him. Hansen's companions were not ideal citizens or students. Some had been in trouble with the law and carried a great deal of influence with Hansen. Carol Hansen said her son was very sensitive about his chest, often complaining about how he hated it. That's interesting. I wonder, I know people have that little, I've seen people that have that little indentation there, but his must have been pretty severe. He was embarrassed to show his chest and would become angry if anyone tried to touch it. Sheriff's deputies are still trying to determine where Hansen's itinerant travels took him and how he died and was mutilated. Detectives have some clues, but they are still missing important physical evidence. Hansen's head and limbs are one. They don't have any of those. Detectives had an idea of what kind of cutting instrument was used in the mutilation, but are refusing comment. Hansen is survived by his divorced parents and 2 younger brothers. Sounds like this guy didn't have much of a shot, really. But a lot of times it just comes down to that one choice. You pick the wrong friend and you go down a path. Yeah, that sounds about right there, Richard. You nailed it, man. You nailed it. Sheriff detectives are refusing to comment on the investigation into the murder and dismemberment of Eric Hansen. Hansen's torso minus limbs head was found during the noon hour on October 4th by a hiker on the north side of Petrifying Springs Park. A week later, the victim... Hey, let's see, hold on a second. Hey, Tish RM, is that golf course just part of the park? Like, do they... When they refer to... Is the golf course named the same... I mean, it's just part of the park, I guess is what I'm saying. Because it's weird. It looks like it's just all one... I mean, the north side of the park would be over here, right? Is this part of the park here, I would imagine? I would think that this whole thing right here is the park. Maybe even... And it could even be... Well, this looks like maybe private over here. But I'm pretty sure that this right here... This whole area here is probably part of the park. Like that. Okay, so when they say it was found on the north side, it was in this area somewhere. Okay. I'm just reading something. Okay. All right. Yeah, hold on. Let me remove this part here for a second. Okay, yeah, this is this one. Hansen's case leads to gay community. Alright, sheriff's detectives are refusing to comment on the investigation into the murder and dismemberment of Eric Hansen, 18, of St. Francis earlier this month. Lieutenant Lee Ormson. See, the thing is I know that Dahmer, he particularly went after gay men. You know, and he dismembered them. So that's why this one seems like it really... Maybe there is a connection. They do try to... I don't know if they obviously never made the connection, but I guess it's possible, right? Hansen's torso minus limbs and a head was found during the noon hour on October 4th by a hiker on the north side of Petrifying Springs Park. A week later, the victim identified was confirmed through a chest x-ray. A runaway and high school dropout, Hansen was also gay. Members of the Milwaukee gay community have told law enforcement agents that that Hansen was a regular visitor to gay bars and had become prominent in gay circles. They said Hansen was a male prostitute, naive, and longed to be considered one of the boys. Detectives here also say their investigation has taken them into Milwaukee's gay community. Another press report said Hansen may have been a victim of, well, I'll just say gay bashing, leading on gay men to get their trust and then later beating them up. Hansen's killer may have been someone Hansen picked up. Gay bashing remains a common crime in Europe. They use the slur that you really just don't say anymore at all. Gays in Milwaukee said Hansen seldom carried much cash and drank beer most of the time. Hansen's father, Boynton, said his son had moved in with a 50-year-old Milwaukee man after leaving home the last time. Okay, and then in November, witnesses say he saw Eric Hansen before murder. Sheriff deputies have a witness who saw 18-year-old Eric Hansen, St. Francis, a week before his headless torso was discovered October 4th at Petrifying Springs. Through Milwaukee news media, detectives asked Milwaukee area residents last week to come forward if they had information about Hansen's whereabouts during the last few days of his life. The tip came to detectives during the weekend. Lieutenant Lee Ormson said a 39-year-old Franklin man told deputies he saw Hansen about 2:30 a.m. on September 27th at a bus stop in downtown Milwaukee. The witness said Hansen was standing alone South Water Street, either at the East Buffalo Street or East Chicago Street intersection. The witness said bars in that area would have closed at 2 a.m. Hansen was standing outside a building that houses the Paradise Adult Bookstore. How does he know that that was Hansen? And what, that just seems like a strange sighting. Detectives and a pathologist placed the time of death at 6 to 8 hours before Hansen's partial body was found by a hiker. Ormson said it's possible the man was the last to see Hansen alive before the murder. Ormson said detectives are collecting background on Hansen's friends, hoping they can provide more clues. After the sheriff's request for help appeared in Milwaukee newspapers, detectives received many calls from people who said they knew Hansen, but none who had seen him around the time the body was discovered. The witness who came forth recently said he knew Hansen, though he did not consider himself a close friend. So he did know him, so he would have recognized him. Hansen's father said he saw his son on September 23rd, 11 days before the torso discovery. When Eric visited his father's flat, Hansen's mother earlier said he had not seen Hansen for several weeks. He may have been going from one friend's house to another, said Ormson. That is not uncommon among young people today who have left their families. Authorities in Kenosha and Milwaukee believe Hansen was a homosexual prostitute. He had dropped out of high school and never had more than a few itinerant jobs. His torso was identified October 11th through a comparison of child-adult x-rays at University Hospital. The key factor in the identification was Hansen's severely concave chest, a deformity that always bothered the victim. Yeah. So cases like this hardly ever get covered. It's a little bit like, Lumberton, the three women, the prostitutes, but they were all over the other case in that area because she wasn't considered a prostitute. Yeah, he's definitely. So here we go. Police said today they are aware of a Chicago dismemberment slang, but it appears the pattern of the suspect does not fit the 1983 murder of Helen Sebastian. The suspect, Larry Eiler, 31 of Chicago, reportedly is being investigated for possible involvement in 19 unsolved slangs, including other dismemberments. Sebastian was 51 when she disappeared from her Racine home in February 1983. Her limbs and head were found the next month, strewn in the backyard of a home. Is this guy an actual... Let me check. Hold on a second. Yeah, he definitely looks like he was a serial killer. Was an American serial killer who was believed, never heard of this guy, to have murdered a minimum of 21 teenage boys and young men in a, look at that. Have you guys ever heard of this guy? I mean, he's not a very common one, but man, this guy is a barbarian, man. He's definitely not one I've heard of. Listen to this. Was an American serial killer who's believed to have murdered a minimum of 21 teenage boys and young men in a series of killings committed between 1982 and 1984 in the Midwest states. Convicted and sentenced to death by lethal injection for the 1984 kidnap and murder of 16-year-old Daniel Bridges, Eiler later voluntarily confessed to the 1982 murder of 23-year-old Stephen Ray Egan, offering to also confess to his culpability in 20 further unsolved homicides in the state of Illinois, would commute his sentence to one of life imprisonment without parole. Eiler died of AIDS-related complications in 1994. That's just bizarre. Never heard of this guy. He's as bad as Dahmer and the rest of them. I mean, my God, he's chopping. Yeah. Eiler is known to have dismembered the bodies of 4 of his victims. His victims were typically discarded in fields close to major interstate highways, with their trousers and underwear frequently discovered around their knees or ankles and their shirts and wallets missing from the crime scene. Good God, man. That's unreal. It's weird how you just sort of stumble upon people that, you know, like this serial killer here didn't make the, you know, the A-list for some reason. You know, he isn't one of, I mean, but 21, that's a shitload. I mean, that's a very prolific serial killer at that point. I'm gonna keep that name on the side. I'll have to look this one up. Of course, it just adds to my my folders, and then all of a sudden, see, look at, he's got the one. His hero was the. Yeah. So, anyways, they're talking about him. I mean, it's right around the same exact time. But in fact, I would say that that Eric Hansen absolutely fits right into this guy, what he does. All right, her limbs and head were found the next month strewn in the backyard of a home on 12th Street. Let's see, we will be waiting to see. Chicago police said today they are questioning Eiler in connection with the discovery Tuesday afternoon of the dismembered body of a 17-year-old Chicago youth. A Chicago detective said today Eiler had not been charged in that case, but probably would be today as detectives complete evidence gathering. The Kenosha County Sheriff's Department wants to talk to Eiler, an Indiana-born house painter, in connection with the unsolved dismemberment slaying of Eric Hansen, who lived in St. Francis. Hansen's torso was found in the north end of Petrifying Springs Park last October, stuffed in a garbage bag. His head and limbs have not been found. We've got a definite interest in it, Kenosha Sheriff's Department Lieutenant Lee Ormson said today. We did send a detective down there yesterday afternoon. They know our case, and we were hoping to get to talk, but we haven't as of yet. After they get done, we are hoping we can talk to him. In Chicago, the body of Daniel Bridges was found cut into 8 pieces and stuffed into 8 garbage bags in a garbage dumpster 100 feet from Eiler's apartment. Other body parts and bags of blood also were recovered from a basement laundry room sink trap, which police said tenants told them had clogged for a day or so. Authorities said Eiler, who was free on bond in connection with another murder is a suspect in the deaths of other young men whose bodies have been found in Indiana, Illinois in the last 2 years. Authorities said evidence indicates the killings were done by the same person or persons. Man, that's wild. I mean, he sounds like a pretty good suspect for that, don't you think? Jeez. All right, so that was 1984, that article. And then 1991, local death may be tied to Dahmer, they said. Police are investigating whether the unsolved case of a headless, limbless male torso found in Petrifying Springs Park 8 years ago this fall may be linked to multiple murder dismemberment suspect Jeffrey Dahmer. A hiker, because the thing is when people do dismemberment like that isn't very common, right? And you almost immediately start thinking serial killer right off the bat, and then you've got Dahmer and the other guy, Larry Eiler. They're both like identical serial killers. They must have had a club or something. It's crazy. Although you don't hear Eiler, I don't think he ate. I think Dahmer ate body parts, didn't he? At the request of the Milwaukee Police Department, the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department has provided files on the Hansen killing to Milwaukee officers. Sheriff Alan Keel said Friday that Milwaukee police requested the files knowing that Kenosha deputies had spent much time in Milwaukee in 1983 probing leads into the Hansen killing. That's interesting. It's interesting that leads in the Hansen case led them to Milwaukee. That's where Dahmer lives, and Dahmer also preyed on the gay men community, right? In late October 1983, members of Milwaukee gay community told Milwaukee police that Hansen was a regular visitor to gay bars and had become prominent in gay circles. They described Hansen as a male prostitute. That guy is a perfect candidate for the guys that Dahmer picked. Milwaukee Police Lieutenant Greg Bauer said Friday that his department is requesting files from other law enforcement agencies. Meanwhile, 3 officers who allowed... Oh yeah, listen to this one. Meanwhile, 3 officers... This is one of the most disturbing parts of the entire Dahmer deal, was those idiot officers who brought back that one naked person to his house, and then Dahmer almost unexplainably kills him anyways. It's like, gosh, you'd think he would have thought like he would get busted for it. But anyways, down here it says, meanwhile, 3 officers who allowed a bloody, naked boy to stay with Dahmer 2 months. See, he escaped, and no, didn't they open the door or go to his apartment? I don't remember exactly why they went to his apartment, but maybe it explains it here. With Dahmer, 2 months before the child was found among 11 butchered bodies in the accused killer's apartment, have been suspended, authorities said Friday. Investigators say the boy was... I think it's going to say it right here. The boy was one of at least 17 victims of Dahmer. A published report says the first to die may have been a 19-year-old man, that he may have been buried at the former Dahmer home in Ohio. Police Chief Philip Arroyo said 3 policemen would be suspended with pay during an investigation into witnesses' reports that officers could have saved the boy and halted the series of killings in May. There is no doubt I am taken aback by this information. This is matter of grave concern to me and the entire department. Dahmer, 31, a convicted child molester on probation, admitted drugging and strangling and dismembering victims in his apartment, court records said. The Milwaukee Sentinel reported in a copyright story that authorities from Summit County, Ohio, investigating the 1978 disappearance of a 19-year-old man were told by Dahmer that he killed the man and buried the remains in the backyard of what was then the Dahmer family's home. John Gardner, a police captain in Bath, Ohio, said search of the 1.7-acre piece of former Dahmer property is scheduled Sunday. Potentially, we have a crime, Gardner remarked after talking with Ohio investigators who interviewed Dahmer in Milwaukee, the newspaper said. 2 Milwaukee women said they called police after confronting Dahmer May 27th and seeing a bloody, nude Asian boy. See, here's the shitty story. Listen to this. Good night, Tish RN. Look at that. She's even got the little mug there with the free card on it. You see that? And thanks for sending me the story. That first one. And that one's pretty interesting. Well, I thought you were saying goodnight yourself. Yeah, listen to this crazy shit right here. Two Milwaukee women said they called police after confronting Dahmer May 27th and seeing a bloody, nude Asian boy running from Dahmer's apartment. 2 officers dismissed the incident as a spat between homosexual lovers, the woman said. This could all have been prevented if they had listened that night. That little boy would still be alive and all the others wouldn't be dead, said Nicole Childress, 18, one of the women who called police. Arola said he had confirmed the officers had contact with the accused Jeffrey Dahmer and the victim and will take whatever action is warranted. So maybe did the kid just wasn't able to articulate? Like maybe he didn't speak English or... the victim and will take whatever action is warranted as soon as... I've seen this described, I think, by Dahmer himself. He was just like, wow, they brought him back. They let him stay. And that's probably the most disturbing death that he has, really. It's just... I mean, they're all horrible, but that one's particularly bothersome, knowing that he could have been saved. The chief said there was a 3rd officer suspended in addition to the 2 who the women remembered. He didn't specify the officers' roles. The chief also said another victim from an out-of-state killing was also identified. Neither his name nor the site of the killing was released. Yeah, jeez, what a freaking nightmare. So, that is basically it. I mean, but they never really were able to associate it with Dahmer, so... I mean, it feels like he's a perfect suspect for it, though, right? Yeah, I put that post in the community section, the Stone Phillips interview with Dahmer. That one, to me, that's just so chilling the way he's talking in there. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but that's the main one for me. Yeah, he was honest about them later, I guess. I mean, I think he was honest about the ones that they proved. And Dahmer liked to keep... That's one thing that's a little different, is that Dahmer kept his victims around. You know, he thought he was making zombies. You know, how about this? Hey, you know what? God, too bad Dahmer wasn't still alive. We could have set Lori and Chad over there. So they could see how real zombies are made. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what the Stone Phillips one, his father was sitting there with him. So yes, I'm sure he's going to be talking about his father. Yeah, like I said before, the weirdest part about the interview was he described a box that had a head in it in his apartment, or room, I guess. And then his dad was like, hey, let me see what's in the box. And then his dad eventually said, I don't need to see what's in the box. And there was a head in the box. And then as the interview was ending, he was leaving, and he says, hey, Stone Phillips, you see that box right over there? It looked just like that, you know. He was that nonchalant about it. Just... Yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. Boy, you really got us there, everybody. If just Lori and Chad were gay, Dahmer might have done something to him. I'm glad you nixed our funny little story there. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Excellent work. Just try to roll with the humor sometimes instead of trying to, like, correct people. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what Chad is. He's a strange character there. Back to you, Jim. Yeah, I think a lot of these people are born killers. I think there's very little nurtured. I think that does happen. There's nature, you're born, or their upbringing made them a certain way, but there's sociopathic serial killers that live in perfectly normal homes, and the other siblings are all normal. And there was nothing different about them. They weren't treated differently. They just are that way. Yeah, yakety yakety yak. Head injury, schmed injury. Alright, let's see. Yeah, that's what's scary about Dahmer. I mean, Dahmer's a smart person. You know, Ted Bundy was a smart person. They are just absolute monsters, though. You know, Dahmer was trying to... Oh, look at, I'm religious now, everybody. Right. Uh-huh. Who gives a shit, Dahmer? You know, I don't even care. That's one of the things I don't like about the whole, you know, Christianity thing when they say, if you accept Jesus, you are now saved. Right? Someone like Dahmer should have no chance, no matter what he says, okay? I don't give a shit what he said. Right? So the thing is what Dahmer's doing is, Dahmer is one of the absolute sickest human beings there ever was. And I guarantee it, if you put him back out on the street, he would have done the same shit again. Yeah, he's very woke. Yeah. Yeah, I just think that some people are... I mean, who's to say that they're not normal? Like, they're not how we conceive of normal. I don't... Like, you know, when you say they're haywire, I don't know. You know, there's people that are just like that. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not their fault, but... Here's the thing is Dahmer knew the entire time that what he was doing was wrong. He just didn't care. Just like pedophiles, for example. They know what they're doing is wrong. They just don't care because that's their natural urge to be attracted to children, right? So they don't care that it is horrible to be doing. But you watch, in about 15 years, there's going to be a P in that big long acronym that we always hear. They're going to be defending them because there's already articles out that defend pedophiles, which isn't that just disgusting? I guess those people are really woke too, right? Yeah, well, the thing is let me see. Here's the argument, though. See, listen, everybody. I've told you guys this before. The argument is that pedophiles, and it's true. This is a true thing. Is they are born that way. Okay, they really are. They've done studies. I've seen it. They are actually born, and they can't help their attraction, right? So eventually they're going to be put on that same list, but they'll just be required not to, be a practicing one, if you know what I'm saying. But they're going to be protected. People are going to be like, hey, you if you don't believe me, go look it up on the internet. Actual articles that aren't some fringe article are talking about that. It's crazy, right? So what they're going to end up doing, these woke people, they're going to make you feel like if there should be able to be teachers. A pedophile, they're going to claim, should be able to be a teacher because, as long as they're not practicing, we shouldn't be able to keep them from teaching. So if you realize that your kids are being taught by a pedophile, you can't say a damn thing. Because they're going to make you feel guilty. You want to bet this is going to happen at some point? Just mark my words. In about 10 or 15 years, you're going to see this protection for them by a certain woke group of people. And I'm not just saying this willy-nilly. It was something I thought, God, some of this stuff's getting crazy now. And I've been really happy with lately are the rulings against, for athletes. So they're protecting the female athletes. I appreciate that. The actual genetic female athletes. No, just look it up on your own time. Type in, I don't want to tell you what to search, but it's crazy. Yeah, there's going to be another letter at the end of that one, Babs Bunny. In about 10 years, you watch. Yeah, it's just really disturbing. Here's the thing. Let's say you had a friend and you didn't know that they were one, and you were friends with them, and then they came out to you and said, hey, I just want to let you know that, what their attraction is, but they don't practice it. Would you still remain their friend even though you'd let him hang out with your kids and he was normal the whole time? See, they're going to make you feel guilty for saying, no, God, I would immediately say that we're not friends anymore. Yeah, see, that's the part that's weird. Yeah, you I know, but see, here's what's going to happen, everybody. All of you right now are answering like a normal, rational person. However, that answer you just gave right there is going to get you in trouble in 10 years. You watch. You're going to be God, that's so uncaring of you. Oh, God. You know, what do you think they feel like? Yeah, that's crazy. And what I'm saying isn't, if you're out there going, oh, you're full of crap, Gray, I'm not. Go look it up, see the articles, see the arguments being made, and I'm right on the money. And I'm sorry to have to inform you of that, but that's absolutely true. No, but see, there's no victims if they're not practicing. I don't like when people argue and say that there's a victim. Okay? I mean, you remember, the thing is I don't care at all if somebody's gay or lesbian or anything like that. It just doesn't even, I don't care. But you got to realize about, you know, shit, it wasn't even that long ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 to 40 years ago, gay people were just treated like they were absolutely monsters, right? Like, oh my God, they are, you know, so they were just treated really poorly. And now we completely don't see it that way. So I could see in the future them trying to sell the same thing with, you know, the pedophiles. Okay, because they too are born that way and can't control it. Now, if they're not practicing, we're going to be called bigots if we don't accept them. You see what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, people that treat gay people like that are idiots, okay? I do not care at all, you know? Just doesn't mean a damn thing to me. It's just they're people, you know? You know what's interesting, though? You guys got to admit that it's much more natural when you see two women together than two guys, right? Like, it's just like women are always, you know, even in college, they'd always hug each other, be leaning against each other. Hell, sometimes they'd kiss each other and stuff, and then they go down, you know. But if a guy ever did just those things, he's immediately going to be gay, right? Like, you're not going to kiss another guy at a party or something. So it's way more sort of, I don't know. Does that make any sense at all? I don't know what to, I'm just basing it on my observations, like when I was in college, and even way after that, you know. And there's a lot of women that have been with other women, but they end up with a guy, you know. But I don't think it's, the other way around doesn't seem as common, you know, like I don't know. No, but they don't, Kimmy, Monster. I just explained it to you. They're not practicing. Obviously the ones that practice are ruining lives, but you can't say what you just said in my scenario. Because here's the argument. See, it's exactly the opposite of what Kimmy said, because she doesn't think through what we're saying. Is that, let's say he's not practicing. What life is he destroying? He just has the thoughts, and that's how he was born. What life is he destroying? And so they're going to say, well, gosh, then you should, as long as he's not practicing, you should treat him better. He should be able to do anything he wants to do. Or she, or, yeah, it's almost always a guy, though, right? Yeah. See, but that's where the argument's going to come in. What I just said. That's the sad part about it. And the thing is in reality, you know, I mean, it's like, what do you say to combat it? They're not practicing. What do you say? Oh, the hell with them. They should be in prison. Well, how come? I mean, See? And then this whole sort of softening up on the edges comes in, and then boom, we've all got to accept that they can be our teacher at our kids' school. All right, just giving you the how it's going to work. There's a lot of stuff that I've kind of predicted like that has come true. Especially when, you know, just, yeah, well, there you go. See, then Dahmer becomes a bad person, right? But let's say Dahmer never killed anybody, but he always had those thoughts. And he never hurt anybody. Because there's people like that. There's people that are serial killers, basically. I mean, mentally. They just chose not to do it. But they have that same mindset. They just maybe were able to keep their urge from going over the edge. All right, they need to stay away from them. Yep, I get it. But is it really fair if they're not practicing, Rebecca? You need to become more woke. You need to be able to say, oh, I'm fine with it. You know, they're people too. As long as they're not practicing, you know, just... It's going to be like that badge of honor. That you're friends with one because they, you know, they're teaching your kids and you're just so woke and accepting. You're so much better than everybody. You know how that goes. Yep, that's right. That's exactly right, David Arnold. I appreciate the way you guys we're having this conversation because it's just it's a scary thought, right? I mean, it's like, whoa, it's gonna happen. 10 or 15 years. Go on your own, look up the articles, and they make arguments. And I'm glad that a lot of you didn't jump in with, well, there's no victim. You know, there's a victim. You know, and it's like, no, I've already took that out of the equation. See, then we're punishing thoughts that people have, right? No, I hate the word woke. That's why I keep saying it over and over again. Yeah. Well, don't read them tonight, but you'll see what I'm talking about. They're written by just normal, you know, like doctors and psychologists and shit like that. Now, just the whole thing about when people say, stay woke. You've heard that, right, Kit Kat? It's just, it's ridiculous. I think the other word's perfect. Stay joke. You know, I like that one. When somebody says stay woke, what they're saying is, like, accept every single bit of the mantra that we're saying, all the total society nonsense bullshit, and just accept it. Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming sub Crystal. Stuff, but felt conflicted. That was so cool having you call in the other night. Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming sub Crystal. Hey, Kit Kat, stay woke. Get woke. Okay? Start believing all the nonsense that we want you to believe, and then you can also say woke and have a t-shirt and everything. It'll be so neat. No, I didn't see that. Missed it, Crystal. Sorry about that. So what do you guys think, man? Do you guys think I'm nuts or what? Come on. I'm just trying to do a little forward thinking here. I've seen the comments. And I knew that when you started seeing this acronym that was like 12 letters long, you know, and then it's like everything is okay now, so then slide that one in too. Yeah, well, that's what I think too, Nancy. I feel like I'm woke on the non-wokeness of so many other people. You're woke as that's a good one. I like that one. You're woke as cool. And this isn't a political conversation. It's just a societal conversation. All right? So don't try to be like, did you hear Gray?
Oh, golly. Gray was so mean. Did you hear what he was saying?
What was mean about that? He literally brought up some good points there.
Well, they were, but...
Well, then why do you keep talking?
I don't know. It just seemed like I needed to say something, because I'm woke. Yay!
Yeah. You go for it there, Mary Lou. Oh, man, you're going to be wasted, Sarah Beth Colagras. You're going to be absolutely hammered. I think I need to have an actual drink, you know? What about you guys, huh? You. I'm going to say not woke. How about, let's make a shirt. I'm going to make a shirt that says not woke at all. I'm dead asleep. Hey, thanks, Jesse. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think by the time we're done, when we cover cases that are complex, every single person on this channel knows knows it. Like, you actually feel like you were there, too. You feel like you were there, you got all the facts, everything's put together. And when you're having a conversation, you actually realize the lack of information that most other people have, or the lack of understanding. I don't always have all of the little tiny minutia, tiny little things that are part of a case, but I get the overall picture, and that usually, and then a lot of the little details, but not every single one of them. And then having those, you're able to put together a picture, a story, something that makes sense based on the information. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like your let's see. I'm not woke at all. In fact, I'm quite tired of all the bullshit. There you go. I'm not woke at all. I'm tired of all the BS. There you go. How's that one sound? You guys type some stuff in there. I'm going to go get myself a quick little something. A shot of, what's it called? Centenario. No, that might be a good one. I'm tired. And then in brackets, not woke. Yeah, I'm tired AF, right? And then inside of brackets you put not woke. What's going on, everybody? Alright, what did she write in? Let's see. Idiots will be heard, but not validated. Did I say that? Man, that's pretty good. Oh, I just play that every time I come back, you know. Oh. Well, that kind of burnt my stomach. Well, that's a pretty good one. Idiots will be heard but not validated. Huh. That's a good one. Yeah, those weren't too bad, right? It's just weird how some of these cases are never solved. You just have, you know, the first case, the guy, he's just hitchhiking around, 13-year-old kid. Obviously, he got in the car with the wrong person. And that person, I mean, just 6 slashes to the neck and 13 to the back. I mean, that's just horrific, you know? Horrifying.
Yeah, so, what's going on, everybody?
Oh, there's hundreds of serial killers out there. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I bet there's thousands of serial killers, some that stopped killing years ago, and they're like 85 right now. Yeah? Why are you obsessed with that one, Jesse? Oh, wait, did we do this one once? No. Huh. Did she have like an eye that was messed up? I've got too many right now. It's just... Yep. Dead bodies everywhere. I guess I could have just said bodies everywhere, right? You mean dead bodies or just... Basically, if you read an article that says bodies, they're not talking about living people, okay? Unless they say, well, how many bodies can we fit in this building, okay? But when if it's a crime story and they say they refer to a body, it's not a living person. Yes, her body was found on the ground. Oh, and yes, she was still alive. Oh, well, then why'd you say her body? Why didn't you say she was found on the ground? Oh, because it was her body. Nah, that's not how you use it. That's not how you use it. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of some of the enhancements people try to do out there. Just leave it the original the way it is and let people see it that way. Where do you live? What state do you live in, Nancy? All right. Oh, Salem. Yeah, we covered the, what was that case that we covered last year? Remember the woman with the, her child, and then the guy who was the father killed her and her child? I forgot the name really quick for some reason. Yeah, I knew Kit Kat was going to be excited having this open. What was the name of that one? That case. And I actually drove out there. You guys remember? I went to the front door. I went down the alley. I think it seemed like there's a J in her name or something like that. Anybody remember that at all? There we go. That was a perfect thing that I typed in there. It's right here.
We're outside Carissa Fretwell's apartment.
Carissa
in Salem, where
Fretwell.
We're here talking to neighbors, and we saw evidence that investigators had been here.
Yeah.
One thing we saw, neighbors tell us this is Carissa's SUV, and inside on the front seat, a certain...
You know, I actually went to the house. Remember all that fingerprint dust on the door? Went behind the alley. Then I drove out to where they found her and everything. It's pretty interesting. And then we went over the entire affidavit on the show, and man, it just absolutely nails that guy, you know? It was incredible. Have you ever heard of that one? Nancy? Nancy P. Had you ever heard of that one? Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, it was a big story, actually. I don't know. It seemed like it was somewhat national for a little bit. And this is just last year. Yeah, it was a really crazy story. She had the child with him, but said that he would never be financially responsible. But then she fell on hard times, and then the state looked into him, found him, and then charged him $900 a month. And so he decided he'd go over and kill her and the child to avoid paying $900 a month for the next 18 years. Yeah, the guy that found the donut shop, yep. And I even drove up to his house where he lived. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It was way up on a Weyerhaeuser logging road. No, it's not over. It's still... He hasn't even gone to trial yet or anything. He's probably not going to go to trial for years. You know how they do that shit. Yeah, it's crazy. We don't know exactly for sure how it went down. It's difficult. But it seems like he went to their apartment and then abducted them. And then he must have left the bodies in his vehicle, went back to work. Then, it's really weird. Or he could have left the bodies in the apartment, went back later with his phone turned off. I don't really know. But it's all timed out perfectly on that affidavit. Hey, thanks, Amy Higg. Oh, it's okay. Some nights people, you guys are always so generous. I know there's some nights where it's not as, people don't have the donations. And it's also, we still got the
Sorry, I
COVID-19.
missed the wave earlier. Better late than never. Winking face smile.
Oh wait, what was that one story I was going to bring up? Ah, man, I deleted it. Oh yeah, I don't remember what country it was. No, in England, they're tracking this radio signal from a faraway galaxy that repeats itself at a regular interval. Pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. I want to check up on that. Whose wife? What case are you talking about? Did his wife never know anything about what he did? Oh, I don't know if she did or not. Wife had nothing to do with it. He was trying to keep it from her, actually. Oh, that's February. Huh, I guess that's another one. I'm not sure why this one's more important. There we go.
Astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley are approaching their first week in space after Saturday's historic launch from Kennedy Space Center. Emily DeVoe spoke to...
That's great. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. The unexplained signals are thought to be coming from a distant galaxy and their repeating pattern. Hey, wait, hold on. I think we need to switch this up now. I gotta do Art Bell. Hey! Here we go. From the green forests and the Pacific Northwest, I bid you all good evening, or good morning, as the case may be. Tonight, we'll be talking about, yes, signals from outer space. A repeating pattern that comes from a distant galaxy far, far away. And we'll be getting to that right after these messages. Ah! The unexplained signals are thought to be coming from a distant galaxy, and their repeating pattern makes them significant for researchers. Radio signals from outer space are not entirely new. Scientists believe that one-off cataclysmic events are where many radio frequencies from space originate. What makes this latest repeating fast radio burst, or FRB for those lay people, so significant is that it has a repeating pattern. This is only the second time ever in history that scientists have been able to detect a radio signal from another galaxy which repeats in a pattern on a regular basis. Scientists at the University of Manchester in England made the discovery and say that the FRB follows a cyclic pattern, which has radio bursts that last about 90 days in a window. Those are then followed by a period of silence of 67 days precisely. It's a discovery which provides an all-important clue that helps scientists trying to figure out where these radio frequency bursts are coming from. Much more later from General Johnson Jameson. And that's actually from Phil Hendry right there. Yeah, pretty cool though, right? The head of the study at Dr. Kostabu, or whatever the hell his name is. This is an exciting result, as it is only the second system where we believe we see this modulation in burst activity. Detecting a periodicity provides an important constraint on the origin of the bursts, and the activity cycles could argue against a precessing neutron star. Yes, it makes you think that maybe there's life out there, right? Today we'll be discussing atoms, developed from a phosphorus synthesizer that combined atoms from an equilibrium state, turning it into kind of a convalescent structure, combining three ionization processes known as... See, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. I'm just making shit up. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I am 100% certain that there's other life on other planets, okay? And I have no doubt about it. Okay? Have they been here? I don't know. Dun, 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 dun. That's right. The reptilians. What are the other ones? The Nordics. The Greys. I'm a fan of the Greys. And not because of it's my name, but... Yeah, I mean, there's trillions and trillions of stars that have planets going around them. I mean, of course, there's another situation like ours. I mean, it's just... And I think there's many, many, not just one. Yep. That's almost the exact sentence I use all the time. Madison, but I got so tired of saying it I didn't say it this time. The whole naive thing. Dun. All right, TTNZ. What are the emoji mugs? I haven't even seen those. What am I looking at here? Oh yeah, Skippy. There we go. Hey, that one looks kind of cool. I like the green one. Makes her hair look more green, kind of how it did when she first came out of the jail into the courtroom. Her hair was kind of green. Anyways, alright everybody, I think that's going to be it for me. I've been on here for almost 3 hours now. Very close. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe I'll do the flyby with that music. That'll be fun. Something a little different. But, hold on a second. Let me get this. Thank you to Sarah Beth Colagrass, Sherlock Hemlock, Miss Red Badger, Liz Parsons, Richard Watts became a member, Renee Folk, Tish RN, David Myers, Kit Kat again, Cairo, Paisley Dreams, Christina Kubacek, Claudia Dubauer, Carolyn T, Miss Giss, Jessica Schubach, Cairo, Rebecca N, Tammy Sutherland, Jessica Hopper, Cherry, or Sherry probably. I don't know if it's Cherry or Sherry. Rosa, Juju Positive, Amy Higg, and TTNZ. Got 4 new members tonight. That's pretty good. Thank you. Appreciate it. What I should have done was put in Lori Daybell in the title and then talked about all this other stuff. It's weird how the algorithms work, huh? So I'm gonna do the flyby with this one. Let me find the cool spot right here. Here we go. Yeah, right there. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night, everybody. Wow. I'm like in a trance. I'm just... Well, there you go. So anyways, thank you guys all for showing up tonight. Going over the cold cases and some of the updated information in the news and a couple news stories there. It's pretty cool. There's Carrie Boyer up there with the eye patch. I think I saw her in chatting around today, somewhere, in one of my videos. But anyways, thank you guys very much for showing up and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. All right, so make sure that you're still washing your hands. Hey, Lori, get out of here, right? Make sure you're still washing your hands and with sanitizer, and make sure that you're, maintaining the social distancing and wearing masks when you're out in public. Looks like we're starting to pick up a little bit of the rate of new infections, because people go, "Oh wow, they're opening it up! Yay! Let's all go to a mosh pit." It's like, no, how about we slowly. How about no mosh pits? That's not something you're going to be doing at this point. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, peace. Oh, wait, by the way, thanks for all of the birthday wishes for my wife and helping out with the phone. That was pretty cool. All right, thank you very much. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a Crime dissector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya, gonna stretch ya if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gregor's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector.
Hey, why are you trying that? That's what I do.
Interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, ya. Just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you.
Yay, that was so neat. It was cool that you tried to put the little beat sound in there too, John Boy.
I tried because you do it all the time, and you do pretty good, and I thought maybe I could do it.
Okay, you did a great job.
Well, thanks, Mary Lou. Hey, good night, Mary Lou.
Good night, John Boy. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, opening up doesn't, it's not really, I'm just going to follow up on some of your comments in there. The political, it's not really that, it's not political to reopen. I mean, we should reopen. But when you reopen, you got to do it with a freaking brain, okay? You got to still maintain your social distancing and wear a freaking mask and wash your hands all the time. The idiots in the big cities, and those are all, they all just do the stupid, oh, we're free now. And they all just, I mean, the rioting and protesting was a huge setback to the virus. All right, everybody? Okay? We should go back to work. And the next time the virus picks up, we're going to have to stay working because we can't destroy the country like what just happened. It was unbelievable what happened. So next time, how about everybody has an N95 mask and we maintain social distancing and we all have hand sanitizer on all of our desks and we just keep ourselves, don't eat anything without washing your hands. Wear the mask, and everything would be very slow and be protective. That's how they do it in other countries. They have pandemics, they don't shut down, and they keep working. We can do the same damn thing, but we have too many idiots who think as soon as you say, hey, we're reopening now, they just run around without masks on and party like it's no tomorrow because they're finally out. They're idiots, okay? And that's the truth. All right, everybody, thank you very much, and